Christina from Our Wood Home. I'm going to be doing some slight clothing alterations, so I thought I would take you along and show you the before and the after, and hopefully I can get some footage of how I actually do these alterations. So let me show you this first piece. It's hard to get the whole thing in the frame, but you get the idea. It's just a long dress made of this kind of chiffon type fabric. I know it's not chiffon, but that's what it reminds me of. I've had this dress for years and years, and I honestly don't remember the last time I wore it because it's just a little bit too fancy, I think, for my current lifestyle. But I really like the fabric, and I've been hanging on to it, hoping for an excuse to wear it. I just tried it on today for the first time in years, and it still fits, but it's a bit tight in the sleeves because there's this elastic in the bottom part of the sleeve, and it's a little bit tight for my liking, so I think I'm going to undo the seam on the inside and just take that elastic out, and hopefully it doesn't look weird or anything, but if it does, I can always just cut off this tube and make a new hem. This was actually a lot easier than I expected. I just used my seam ripper, but I also could have used small scissors, and I just unpicked the small seams that were holding this tube together. I just had to be careful that I didn't accidentally rip the fabric because it was quite delicate, but as I said, it was quite easy to find these small stitches and just rip them so that I could have access to the elastic inside. Once I got the elastic, I just made sure that I could pull it out fully so that I wasn't going to be risking cutting my fabric. And I just used my sharp fabric scissors to cut that elastic right out and take it out of the little tube that it was in. I had thought that the cuff might end up being quite creased and wrinkly because it had been gathered for so long with this elastic, but it was actually fine. Then to fix this opening that's now here, I just put the raw edge inside the other edge and hand sewed it shut. I sewed it shut off camera, but here you can see how the sleeve cuff looks when it's all finished. It's not very scrunchy, and you can barely tell where the seam was. I did end up just cutting a few extra loose threads, but I'm very pleased with how this turned out. I have another skirt that I think I'm going to try to modify. I don't really wear it much now, and I've had it for at least a few years. It's fine. I just don't like the elastic waist, and I really struggle with non-elastic waists because I just find them way too restricting and just generally uncomfortable. Plus, I hate sewing in zippers or anything like that, but I also don't like wearing this skirt because it's denim. So when the elastic waistband is in, it's just kind of bunchy and generally uncomfortable to wear. So that's why I haven't been wearing it, and I really like it and want to wear it. So I'm gonna see if I can alter it a bit. Speaking of skirts I don't wear, this stripy one in the back here, I made that over the winter using some drapery fabric scraps. I bought in a remnant bin, and it was just too good of a deal to pass up. And the fabric is really nice. It's almost like corduroy, but it's not. And it's these really nice warm toned stripes. I didn't know what I would do with it, but I knew I wanted to do something. So I had just enough to make myself a skirt. And this one does have a fitted waist with a zipper. And I just haven't worn it because I don't know what to wear with it. I kind of broke my own sewing rule by not making sure I had things currently in my closet that would fit with a new piece. in terms of color matching and everything. I do have some gray sweaters that I could probably wear with this, and I'm wearing a red one, a red long sleeve top now that might match it, but I don't know. I just haven't wanted to reach for it yet. So what I think I'm gonna do is just take the zipper out. I know that I could just go to the store and buy a new zipper for my denim skirt, but this blue zipper actually was intended for a denim skirt when I bought it and just never used it. So it's kind of coming full circle, I guess. And what I'm gonna do is take out the elastic that's in here. I didn't even finish it properly. The elastic's still peeking out. So I'll take out the elastic and then cut the whole skirt a little bit more narrow because I need the waist to fit closer to my actual waist size instead of being big enough to gather. I hope that all makes sense. I'll try to show you, I don't know if I can show an example one-handed, but this denim skirt is probably like 6 inches too big. So if I put a zipper in on the side, when I would zip it up, it wouldn't stay up because it's too big. So the waist needs to be pretty close to my actual waist measurement. And yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Hopefully that goes well and I can actually get some use out of this denim skirt. I've taken the elastic out of my denim skirt, so now it's just a nice rectangle, and you can see it's all bunchy across the top from where the elastic was, but that's not going to be a problem. I can just iron that out. So I've taken the elastic out, and now I've got this skirt, which I'm using as my template. I still have to take the zipper out, but I'll be reusing that zipper in this denim skirt. So I'm just going to try to lay out this template skirt sort of centered on my denim skirt. And as you can see, it's a fair bit narrower at the top. So what I'm going to do is keep the width down here on the denim skirt and just curve it in a little bit on both sides. It's not going to be cut exactly where this template skirt lays because I need some seam allowance. But that's what I'll do, and then since it'll be cut on both sides, it'll be open and I can easily put the zipper in and then just close up the other side. I made sure that my denim skirt was centered underneath of the template skirt, and I just used some tailor's chalk to mark out where I want to cut. What I like to do now is, instead of trying to cut this side to be the exact same just by eyeballing it and making sure the template skirt was put on there properly, I just cut the one side, make sure it's nice and even, and then I'll fold this half over onto this side, lining up the uncut edges, and use this cut side as my template. Now I've got a skirt that's perfectly symmetrical on both sides. This is the denim skirt after I've finished altering it. I still need to iron it. As you can see, there's that big line across the bottom, that big crease, and the seams are a little wonky right now because they just need to be ironed out. But I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. I ended up taking in the sides a fair bit to make it a little bit more fitted, and I took out the elastic in the waist, but because it had the elastic in it for so long, it kind of ended up being a little bit marked and bunched, I guess. It's not a big deal, it doesn't bother me and I'm not really sure how I would fix that anyways. And I will apologize for my chipped nail polish if you see that in frame. It needs to come off and I just haven't done that yet. Anyways, I did put the zipper in. I just sewed it in by hand because I don't want to use my machine for that. And overall, I'm pleased with how this turned out, and it fits really well and it's very comfortable. The next piece I'm going to be doing some alterations on is this vintage sweater. It's got really pretty embroidery down the front, and it's in pretty good shape, except the neckline is starting to come undone. And this should be an easy fix. I can just sew that back together. But the main issue I have with this sweater is a nice big ink stain right on the back. It doesn't show up in photos, obviously, because I'm not taking pictures of my back, but I'd like to wear this sweater out in public, and I'm not comfortable doing so with this giant stain. I've tried washing it and pre-treating it and everything to get it out, but it's just stuck on there now. So what I think I might do is either try to find some embroidery floss that's the same color as the actual sweater, and I'll try to just go over each individual stitch where the ink is to see if that can cover it. If that doesn't work and it ends up looking super obvious, I'll just undo the stitching that I put over it and maybe try to copy one of these flowers from the front and put that over the ink spot, as well as in just a few extra places so it looks somewhat intentional. This trend is called visible mending, and it's not new by any means, but it's something I've been seeing popping up a lot recently, and it's basically the idea of doing repairs on garments that are obvious. You don't want to be hiding the repairs. So we'll see how that goes. There were actually quite a few places around the neckline where it was coming undone, so I just used a regular needle and thread to fix that, and I think it turned out pretty well. I did go back and just trim those little fluffy parts that were poking out. Now, trying to cover the ink stain was a different story. I didn't have any embroidery floss that matched perfectly, so I tried my hardest to find something that was similar in what I had, and I have mixed feelings about it. I'll show you how it looked when I tried my best to fully cover it. As you can see, it's not an exact match. I am not sure if this looks better or worse than it did before, but I'm still going to wear the sweater out and about, and I guess if I get any weird looks from people, maybe that means the ink stain is still very, very visible. This is another dress that needs some fixing, not necessarily to modify it just for the sake of wearing it more, but because it's actually damaged. This is one of my favorite dresses that I've ever made, even though it's so simple. I wear it all summer. I wear it in the spring and sometimes even the winter and fall as well. It's just a great dress, and I like to dress it up or down. But the problem is it's split right under the arm, and I was so disappointed about that because this means I can't wear it anymore. Because of where it's split, even if I sewed it shut, it would still be likely to rip again, and I can't make it any smaller. The bodice, I can't make that any smaller. I can't add any more of this fabric because I don't have any. And I guess I could try to patch it, make it look intentional, but I don't really want to do that either. I'd honestly just given up on this dress and was going to use it for my scarecrow, which sounds ridiculous, but that was my plan. Or I was going to cut it apart and use the fabric for something else. I'd thought about maybe just cutting off the bodice and making it into an elastic waist skirt, but I'm trying to wear more dresses than skirts because I just find dresses more comfortable for the summer. Then I thought maybe I would cut along this part of the bodice and put a new piece of fabric for a panel across the top. Kind of like just something to add some visual interest, but maybe also make it look intentional, but I decided not to do that. Then randomly while driving the other day, I had a great idea. Let me show you. All right, so this top on the right is actually from a dress that I made a few summers ago and never really wore. I really like the fabric. It's a very lightweight cotton, almost chambray, I guess. And it has this really nice embroidery detail. So what I did was just make a regular bodice, and then use this material as a big ruffle across the top. And the dress itself was a little bit shorter than I like to wear, probably just at my knees, and I like well below the knee. Not only was it too short because I didn't have enough fabric, it was very sheer. And I made a special slip to wear underneath of it, but I just didn't reach for this dress when I had the chance. Probably also because it's kind of a dressier fabric, so I didn't want to wear it just around the house or in the garden or anything. And I wasn't really going anywhere due to the pandemic, so I just never wore this dress. Since I wasn't wearing it as a dress, I decided to cut it into a top. So this was where the bodice attached to the skirt originally, and this was quite a bit longer, but I just hemmed it and made it kind of like a peplum top. And because it was pretty shapeless, I kept the ties at the waist from the dress to try to make it fit a little bit better. And I like this, but again, it's just not something I'm going to be reaching for because, first of all, it's still really thin and I'd have to wear another shirt underneath of it. But secondly, it just seems a little fancy. I don't know. Maybe that's just because I'm a country simpleton now, but it's not something I'd reach for in daily life. However, I am hoping to remedy that by putting this onto the skirt of this. Is that crazy? Will it look terrible? Or will it look kind of amazing? I don't know. What I'm going to do is cut off this ruffle part, so it's just a straight bottom edge. And I'm going to cut the skirt off of this dress right here. And then I'll just attach this bodice to this skirt. I'll probably still just use these ties from the dress. And hopefully I'll have a new garment that I want to wear, and I get to reuse my navy blue and white gingham fabric. Stay tuned to see what comes out of that. I'm really happy with how it turned out. It was pretty easy to adjust. I used the ripped bodice as a liner for the top because it's pretty sheer, and I needed something underneath of it. I think it looks really cute, and I hope it looks cute. I think it does, but I'm biased because I made both pieces, and I wouldn't make it if I didn't think it was cute. But I think it looks good, and it's going to be really comfortable for summer. I previously kept this gingham dress as kind of a work dress, so I'd wear it to do gardening and any kind of messy chore that I didn't mind getting dirty. But I would also wear it just as an errands dress because it was very comfortable and lightweight for summer. But now I am not going to be able to wear it as a work dress because I think the top is too pretty, and I think it would be very difficult to get stains out of this fabric, and I don't want to catch this embroidery on anything that I'm working on, so I think it's going to be just a going out dress and a running errands dress for summer, and I'm really excited to wear it. I hope that you enjoyed watching this video. I always find the outro section of videos to be super awkward to record or film because I don't quite know what to say, so I will just thank you again and encourage you to check out some of the other videos here on my channel, and if you like what you see, I hope that you will consider subscribing. Have a great rest of your day.